everyone, welcome back to the Arrow Panel Tap. This is episode 22. I'm your host, or one of your hosts, Buzzard, aka James McGarren.
I'm Roger Clark, at Roger Clark on Twitter.
I'm Dalton Runberg, Blue Chows.
And we have a special guest with us today, the one and only Craig's Penny.
Yes, dear.
All the way from Germany.
Yes, dear. Yes. Hello.
We're joining him over a very tiny cup of coffee.
Yes, dear.
That we're all kind of just sipping on.
Yeah.
We're sitting in a very relaxed, relaxed pose. Also.
Oh, yeah.
We're actually taping this episode in a quiet cafe.
Yeah, I like your scarf.
Yeah. Yes, dear. You want to chat on Messenger?
No.
Nope.
Oh.
So actually, Craig's is a more esteemed member of the DDR community, I would say.
Hey, yeah, this is Omid. I go by Demo, and part of this crew, man. It's good to be back.
If anybody actually does know Craig's, we would love to have him on the podcast.
Yeah.
I think that'd be great.
Let's get it going.
Sorry to disappoint. Not actually Craig's.
It's hard to get. It's hard to get his time.
And if you missed out on the Craig's phenomenon and have no idea what we're talking about, go join the DDR Players group on Facebook, and it's the pinned post.
It's the pinned post.
And it's the best thing to happen to this community in like 2 years.
Yeah.
Since Ace came out, basically.
Plus, it's a good place to get news and stuff anyway, so
Yeah.
go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Besides following at SF_evolved on Twitter.
Which is the best source for
That's
news.
the best source for news. Also, DDRcommunity.com. Got to give a shout out to DDR Community.
To David Lee.
There you go.
On a more serious note.
All of a sudden, you just now know the 3 best places to get all DDR-related content.
Exactly.
You don't need to go anywhere else.
Mic drop. But we won't actually do it because it's a nice mic.
Yeah.
We're going to keep that mic right where it is. So we were on hiatus for a little while. Our regular listeners, I'm sure, are aware of this. Basically, we got back from Japan, and we were really tired.
Yeah, we just slept for like 5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we just now woke up.
The jet lag, it gets you every time.
Jet lag, it's really bad.
First thing we did was turn on the PCs, and here we are.
Yeah. Yeah. No, to be honest, though, it was really, like, from personal experience, it was overwhelming.
Yeah, we were all in Japan.
Yeah. So like, actually, the purpose of this podcast, to me at least, is, definitely like kind of like a community outreach, and it's sort of like how I get my fill for, talking to everybody. And at Japan, I'm sure all of you were there. If you're listening, you were probably there, because like we all like met each other. We were all in Tokyo. We all kind of saw each other randomly. I even saw Kel on the subway one time randomly. So. Yeah. It was like everybody was in Japan at that time, and so it kind of we lost the need to connect to people because we had spent so much energy, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it was an incredible experience.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll talk about KC for a bit, but just being there in Japan and playing with the Japanese players, it was just like such an interesting experience, and they were all so welcoming and so like grateful that we were there, and they'd like play games together and like ask, oh, can I take a picture of our that was like the whole thing. The whole trip was like taking a picture of your names on the login screen.
Yeah.
Being called Demo-san unironically by some of the most like kind and welcoming people I've ever met in my life.
Yeah.
All through this silly game we all play across the world. I don't know. It was an incredible experience.
It was awesome.
And especially because even if you don't speak the same language, that like...
Thanks, Google.
Google Translate
was pretty
helped
great.
a lot.
Yeah.
If you see a good score, like through the game, you
know what it is.
You share in that excitement.
That's pretty good.
The money score translates across all
it's the universal language.
The universal language.
Which is maybe a great segue, because even though our boys didn't win, watching Fefems win was
Fefems is crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane. And like it was like, if you didn't watch KSC, sorry to spoil it for you first of all, but second of all, it was really, really close this year. Like super duper close.
It was,
like single digit EX points on songs kind of flipping the results. So definitely watch. I think Dr. D has a really good, if you check out his channel, he has a really good like quick recap.
Yeah.
Where you can watch them all in
like
parallel.
chops it all up together.
Yeah.
He did.
So check out his channel and watch the KSC. It's So Fefems was number 1.
Congrats, Fefems.
Yeah, congrats.
Yes.
You guys
And we'll
count down the ranking though.
Yeah. Well, Chris got second. So
yeah.
I mean, but the interesting thing, and we talked about this in the rules, was that Chris didn't get a song pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was at a huge disadvantage.
We're talking about Chris Chaik. I am Chris for life.
Yes, I am Chris for life.
Number 2.
Yeah. So he didn't get a song pick. So he was, up against in the finals. It was Fefems, Funga, and Hoshikechi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting song picks. Funga picked Saberwing Akira Headshot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was
really close.
An interesting choice. Is off by like one perfect.
And you wouldn't have thought that Fefems would have gotten the score that he got, because I think he got the best score on it.
I think he did.
And
then Chris, I think, and then Jeff.
Which is crazy because when I think about Fefems, I think about he's great at crossovers. he's great at comboing bullshit.
Yeah.
He's just really good at kind of everything, but not. When I think of MA, I don't think of Fefems, and he just destroyed that song, which has kind of difficult sync problems.
Yeah, so that song was definitely a very intentional choice. Like Jeff, I know Jeff had been thinking about it for quite a long time, and practicing it, of course, like before KAC. But yeah, if you're not familiar with it, it's a really kind of a messed up chart, I would say. Like not a lot of people play it very often. It's got lots of crossover. It's got Scoobies.
Lots of tempo changes.
Also, and it's off sync. Also,
we're saying Jeff. He goes by Funga.
Yeah.
Funga. And Jeff got third.
And he got third.
Again.
Yeah. Same as last year.
It's brutal competition, man.
Yep.
Yeah, well, so I don't know if it's much of it's more of a showcase than a competition.
Yeah. And again, shout out to Hoshikechi, who is also an incredible player.
Yeah, I mean, it was so cool.
And fun.
Yeah, wild guy. Yeah, I mean, the whole experience was just great. So, I mean, KAC was cool, but...
Yeah. Oh, wait, I wanted to mention one more thing, though. Yeah. I want to talk about the context around Fefems winning, which I thought was interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Fefems lives in South Korea. He's actually going to his mandatory military service this year.
Yeah.
So that was actually his last chance to win KAC for the next 4 years. Mm-hmm. So the fact that he won... And maybe that he actually really practiced and tried really hard because he knew that it was going to be one of his last chances is pretty interesting. So I really like that. So go on. What were you
so I was saying KAC was fun, but the next day was extra exclusive.
Yeah. And Omid is wearing the sweater.
I have mine too.
Yeah. Extra exclusive sweater.
That was an incredible experience.
Yeah, it was a tournament where we... Hudson Kaze 573 rented out the entire floor of an arcade in Akihabara. They turned off all the other games and stuff. We just had DDR.
Yeah.
And had this tournament where there's pre-qualifying and everything. So I was in it. Omid was in it.
Yeah.
So there's 32 people, I think.
Yeah.
And it was Americans and Japanese players and
Korean players.
And Korean players. And from Singapore, I think there was one or two.
There was one person
right.
from Singapore.
Yeah, so I mean, it was
a Tori.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
No, he's from Korea.
He's from Korea.
Just all over the place. Coming together and playing in this tournament.
Yeah.
I had a great match with Koji, and just all these matchups of American players versus Japanese players, stuff that you've never seen before, and it was just because KAC was so limited with how many people could enter, it was really cool to see all these other people entering and competing against each other.
Yeah, it was a really nice contrast because the day before was KAC and it was a big show. There was kind of it was on a stage. And there was presenters and stuff, but this was a really homegrown sort of tournament.
The grassroots.
Grassroots.
The dichotomy is really cool.
Tournament.
Yeah.
And sure. Like what Dalton was saying, I love what they did with the arcade. It was they turned off all the other machines and they moved everything out of the way so that everybody can sit on the floor and watch. And they connected this external monitor so that
at some point in the night, Yasu.
My God! How crazy
showed up.
Yasu?
The first player to get a AAA on Max 300.
Yeah, he's legendary.
The legendary player Yasu.
And he's dropped off the everywhere.
Yeah.
Nobody's seen him in 10 years or something, and he just randomly showed up. And there was a line of people to take a photo with him, and he was such a good sport.
They all want to do the hand thing.
Yeah, I did the hand thing.
Yeah.
How did you not?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't, but
I didn't get a photo of him.
I mean, I ran into him in the stairwell, and I didn't even ask for a photo. They're like, "Oh, do you want a photo?" Because he had a friend with him or something who was kind of helping translate and stuff. That, I mean, it was just It was so wild.
Yeah.
It was a great surprise.
I was also pleased to meet Aaron in Japan was there.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of so like it wasn't just competitors. It was also kind of like a lot of old school people, a lot of DDR celebs, I guess.
I really hope Konami was paying attention to the extra exclusive thing, because I know that they at the very least follow what Chris and Jeff are doing. And they were probably retweeting things about this kind of thing.
Definitely.
So hopefully it made it into their sphere of knowledge, and they understand that we had that event. And hopefully that just makes them more willing to do something more flexible in the future.
Yeah, I would love to see. So I don't know if you two were super into the scene then, but I know this is probably where I met Dalton. In the Groove had regional finals. And so those were basically, I don't know, it was like 32, 64 person tournaments. I don't really remember. But essentially you had representatives from each region. And so that would be way more interesting, I think, if DDR kind of embraced this more, what's the right word? Like state-based kind of...
like feeding from multiple areas into one larger.
have the provinces of Japan, like have like Tokyo, a Tokyo winner, Osaka winner, like what?
Getting like the positive feedback, because like it might be hard to compete on a national level or like a global stage, but like being the best in like Arizona, for instance, would be like a really awesome.
Lots of
motivating thing.
Yeah. I think it'd be a really positive thing.
I'd love to see that. We almost had that with KAC, because the KAC was split up. So Japan was split up to East Japan and West Japan.
I thought that was good this year that they did that.
Yeah.
Last year.
So maybe we'll get more of that in the future, especially now that more locations are opening up. So
we got some round one openings recently.
Ooh.
Yes, we can announce those.
Feeling like Kevbo on some shit.
Yeah. So the Mentor Ohio tournament, or the Mentor Ohio location for round one, just opened. It's the first DDR Ace in Ohio, which they've badly needed one for a long time.
Big community there.
Yeah, exactly. That's where I moved here from, and so I'm glad that all the Cleveland people and all the Columbus people have a reasonably accessible location to play Bimani games. And we got Portland, Maine. I think that's opening this weekend. Albuquerque. A bunch of other stuff's opening too, and I'm really excited for more people to get access to DDR Ace.
Yeah, I know at least one guy that lives in Albuquerque that I used to play ITG with in college that I think is going to tear that machine up. So that's really exciting.
Yeah, I mean it's just always great when old school players now have Ace to play on. And kind of like refresh and
just reactivates the whole thing.
I mean, I hadn't played for 6 years.
Yeah, especially since like a lot of times you don't see these people for a while, and then like all of a sudden they're posting scores. It's awesome.
It's really cool. And I mean, and there's even like new players that
seriously
people that live here that these people never played DDR before really. That are now AAAing 17s and stuff in playing for like 2 years. It's since Ace came out, it's
bonkers.
It's inspirational.
It's absolutely insane.
It pushes me. I know that.
No, it's insane.
So speaking of pushing and inspiration, there's some events coming up that you could push yourself at. It's a little short notice. I really apologize for it, but CEO 2018. Storm tournaments are coming up. It's the weekend after next, right?
Yeah, it's next weekend. Yeah, the weekend after this coming weekend. And I'm going. This is Roger speaking, and
that's the 30th, right?
Yeah,
June 30th.
So they're having a DDR Extreme tournament on Extreme Pro, and they're having a In the Groove 2 tournament and a Pump It Up Prime tournament, and the DDR Extreme tournament has over 100 people in it.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah, it may be the largest DDR tournament
ever.
Or music game tournament even. Maybe ever.
I think so.
Which is crazy.
Super crazy.
So speaking of which, it's on Extreme Pro, which we talked about in one of our previous episodes, but it's like this hacked version of Extreme. That has marvelous timing in it. So, I mean, I think a lot
everywhere versus just...
In normal play, that I think people were really burnt out on Extreme tournaments, kind of, because of, like, it's just AAA versus AAA, and, like, it's, you get one great, and that's it. Like, I lost the song. So, kind of moved to random Caprice tournaments for a while, so you can at least have...
some RNG.
Yeah, we'll have some MA in there, but that it's not ideal. It's 4 songs, so it takes longer. But but yeah, so I think having Extreme Pro really brought a lot of new player current
brought
play
new life into the game.
Well, into Extreme, but enticed people to enter. Hardcore players who maybe haven't even played Extreme in a while. But also, I think because it's being held at CEO, which we didn't even mention, is a fighting game tournament generally. And Storm, which has been run in Florida as a music game tournament for a while, kind of paired up with them.
Yeah.
Because Alex Jabali, I think, is the guy who runs Storm, and he...
Does DreamHack, too, I'm pretty sure. He's legit.
I didn't know that.
Legit TO.
He used to play music games and stuff. He used to play DDR, so I think he was really receptive to.
It's awesome.
To like
really cool.
Bringing the music game community.
Shout outs to the fighting community for continuing to involve rhythm games, because I feel like
so the historical precedent there is that the last DDR Extreme tournament that we all went to was Genesis, which was in San Jose.
Yeah. Or Oakland.
It was in Oakland.
Oh, sorry, Oakland. Yeah. Around here. And that was like a big deal. So that was a huge tournament too. And
happening again next February.
Yeah, next February, come join us. But yeah, it was interesting because everybody was kind of there for the fighting games, and DDR was sort of like a side small thing, but a ton of people showed up, and the DDR machine and the whole tournament area was like right in the middle of the event. So like a lot of the pro fighting game people saw DDR happening.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of happening again with CEO and Storm, is that
there's 3.
People who are fighting game players who see on the registration list, oh, there's a DDR tournament, they're like, oh, I'll sign up for that.
Yeah.
So
and they get bodied.
Well,
you never know what's going to happen, because if you look at on our stream, so we did the stream for the Genesis 5 tournament in February, and on the stream there was the Nintendo logo and the HyperX logo and a bunch of other
sponsors.
Yeah. Nintendo sponsored that tournament because it was mainly a Smash Brothers major.
And Splatoon.
And Splatoon and stuff like that. So, it's really interesting to think about what could happen if Nintendo saw a bunch of people entering into a DDR tournament at one of the events that they sponsored, and they contacted Konami and said, "Hey, what are you guys doing?" That seems like an interesting possibility.
DDR Mario,
it's really
DDR Mario mix for Switch.
Yeah,
it's not that far fetched because so I'm friends with Miles, who's a pretty big member of the Smash community, but I like Melee just because it's fun to watch. I don't necessarily play it a lot, but speaking of Nintendo, this is a really similar arc to what's been happening. I know Konami followed our Twitter account, which is really exciting. There was that whole thread with Slushy, the Monster Cat artist, who made noise about DDR or whatever, which we can talk about in a sec. But basically, I think that it's exciting, like you said, Roger. I want to have Konami go through the Nintendo motions, which is A, actively ignore Melee, B, decide that there's a big Melee following, and C, actively support esport Melee. So if Konami can have the same realizations of right now they're just letting North Americans in KSC or whatever, and then maybe they're maybe there are a lot of people who play DDR or whatever, and then let's actively embrace it and promote it and do whatever. So
I know that Konami asked Hudson for some details on recent recent tournaments in the US, so that's a good sign.
It's a start.
That's good. It's a start. Boy, I have a conspiracy theory now. Maybe Extreme Pro was made by Konami.
Oh, Jesus. That actually would be fantastic viral marketing.
Can you imagine if that was true? That would be amazing.
But I think we should also mention, I think we're pro dance games, not necessarily. We probably emphasize EDR mostly, but ITG2, there's customs. You can download the pack off of somewhere. I don't actually know. Probably check the Facebook group, I would say.
So you can get to the page from the CEO website.
Great, fantastic.
And
so that's
you just search for CEO Gaming or CEO Daytona Beach on Google, and you'll find it.
And Pump Prime, too. Which actually, another tournament result recently, Seth Sanchez, Happy Feats, he won the United States Pump Festival here in San Jose.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
So shout out to Seth.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
I went to that, too, which I've never really watched a whole...
It's impressive as hell.
Pump tournament. Yeah, it's
People
wild.
are so good at Pump
It's wild, so man. I get tired just watching.
Yeah. It's like the D22 is like it's like the standard.
Yeah.
It's like if we just decided we were only going to play 18s from now on.
Double.
I mean, I basically have, but yeah.
But yeah, ITG, it's big, like we're talking about Extreme mainly because it's DDR and also because it has the most entrants of the dance games right now. But I'm sure ITG is at least 60 people, 70 people, something like that, and that's also huge. I think that the fact that there's so much of this stuff going on is really exciting, and the fact that the CEO tournament is in Daytona Beach, Florida, which isn't really that accessible as of a place. Like, you have to decide that you want to go there. Like, it's 2 hours away from Orlando, an hour away from Orlando, however far away it is. But so people like us, we have to fly there, and it's not in a big city, right? So imagine if we had one of these events, but it was already in a big city where there were a bunch of people who played the game, like, say, in Chicago or San Francisco or something like that, where we had a long lead time, like we had with CEO, which is, I think, one of the reasons that this tournament seems like it's growing as much as it is because we had months in advance knowledge that it was going to happen.
Generate the hype.
So we could just we could hype it up.
Yeah, I mean, especially when people have to fly out for things.
Oh, definitely.
You really have to know ahead of time. So
that's a great segue into the next tournament.
Yes. Can I mention one more before we do that? So there's another, so speaking of ITG, yes, I think this is probably still the biggest ITG tournament, maybe second to some of the national ones that Rockstar did back in the day when I played a lot. But there's a Pacific Northwest tournament, so you got this big Florida tournament next week. There's also a for fun ITG tournament, custom tournament in Seattle. July 28th. It's called SMH. It's the 4th installation. It's SMH4. Step files made horribly. And it's like a really casual competitive environment. So if you're a dance gamer and you just want to meet people in the community and just hang out in the Pacific Northwest, definitely come to that. I think if you I think we'll probably include links in the notes or something. But basically, if you search Sim Files Made Horribly on Facebook, you can find the event.
So I have a question as a DDR player.
Yes.
And I want to go to one of these tournaments.
For sure.
These charts would these be approachable to me as a DDR player, or are they stamina charts like a pump it up that would be more suited for like a pump it up or ITG player?
So like the namesake suggests, these are all Sim Files Made Horribly. So my answer is yes to your question. That was not a yes or no question.
They're kind of there's some more serious charts and there's also some more goofy, silly things. Like Omid said, it's a more of a casual fun tournament. Where
you'd be welcome.
Where you see a step chart and you laugh. So
right, and it's not meant to be cutthroat competition like Extreme Pro, like ITG customs that are made for FA, etc.
Yeah.
I just want to mention this, give them a shout out because it's these tournaments are really few and far between. Where it's not just cutthroat competition. It's kind of in the middle where it's we're just hanging out, but we're also competing. Yeah. But it's not
That's one of the
super
things
serious.
I like that about ITG. ITG is kind of
there you go.
You can take it any direction that you want. It's you can be serious, you can be joking.
Yeah.
It's
but nice. Roger, you're gonna mention this.
So Fresno Frenzy 2, which is the next DDR Ace tournament in Fresno, California, on September 22nd, the weekend of September 22nd, and we really kind of want to generate as much hype for this as possible. The last Fresno tournament, when was that, 2 months ago?
Something like March.
Was it also Fresno Frenzy?
March or April.
Yes, it was Fresno Frenzy 1.
Second one this year.
And that tournament was so successful, despite very little marketing, that the people who run the Dave & Buster's there are very excited about hosting another event.
Yeah,
and
they were so generous, and they did a raffle, and they put up decorations. They hung arrow streamer things from the the ceiling,
awesome.
And they were just so welcoming of everybody, and so the amusement manager was so hype and. It was just a great vibe.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It's awesome.
It didn't feel like we were fighting the venue.
Yeah, I think one of the benefits of the fact that it's in Fresno is, at the Daly City location here in San Francisco, it's such a high traffic Dave & Buster's location that they could just say no to us because they're going to get business anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the Fresno situation, I think that they're just we just want to try as hard as we can to get as many people in here, however we can. And I think that the next DDR tournament there is going to be really big. The last one we had, what were the results? We had,
I am Chris for Life, Funga, Ninjafar, and myself.
Yeah, congratulations.
Congrats.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really fun tournament. And I mean, I'm from Fresno, and it's, speaking of places that are kind of out of the way that you have to drive to, it's not a destination city, but it's in the middle, almost the exact middle of California. So it's about 3 hours from San Francisco, 3 hours from LA. So we got a lot of people from both areas coming together. Rather than driving 6 hours from San Francisco to LA.
Exactly.
And there's a lot of good players from both north and south.
Yeah.
They're insane players in California.
Yeah, so it was just a really good, and then there was a couple of people from even out of state, I think, too, that came. That, I mean, it was just really cool. So
so if you're from out of state and you're thinking of coming to California,
go to Fresno.
Go to Fresno. You could always come to the Fresno tournament and then hang out there, or go to LA or San Francisco and do whatever you want, really. But I think that this will be a pretty big tournament, because we have several months before it happens, and we've got all the good players basically already decided they're going to go.
And there's a doubles tournament.
And there's a double tournament
on the Sunday. For Saturday is going to be single.
Nice.
Double is going to be on Sunday. They announced. So.
Do we have many doubles players in California? I actually don't know.
I don't think there's many doubles players, period.
Yeah, I believe that. In Japan there are. There's a ton of Japanese players.
I know there's Rinashita, Oliver. Oliver. That's the only one I can think of.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, T-Swag is a really good...
Oh, right.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I've seen Chaos play some doubles charts, too.
Yeah.
Starting to get better at it. Might be a good excuse to practice doubles.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Something to do.
Something to do.
Other than the 800 songs that are already in Ace that you haven't played yet.
Well, I mean, it makes you better playing on double. It
Absolutely.
gives you, first of all, more stamina, because you have to move around more. And also, it just teaches you how to do crossovers and stuff in ways that you wouldn't have thought about.
True.
Makes you quick on your feet.
So we got every flavor tournaments. We got remote DDR Ace tournament, and it's going by the name of Summer Fairy Tale.
After the DDR zone.
Which is super exciting, and that is being TO'd by Amber and you, or Amber and Josh, I think, right? I don't know, whatever.
Mostly
Amber and somebody.
Amber Ambones.
Ambones.
At Nuggety on Twitter.
Yeah, there you go.
This is going to be, there's like multiple divisions.
Yeah, so it's a couples tournament. So you're going to have to play with somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Choose a partner. So there's like an upper division and a lower division for different skill levels. So you can choose to enter one of those, and then there's also a mixed division where you have to have at least one female on your team, just to encourage people to play with, people they might not otherwise play with.
It's like a DDR dating game.
Or like femme identified.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, use judgment.
Yep.
But so that'll be really fun.
Yes.
And that's starting like as soon as she posts the songs in like a week, I think.
Yeah, so the rules were just announced today, Thursday.
Yeah.
So I believe summerfairytale.com might even be be the website.
You're right.
So this is a worldwide tournament.
So the beauty of this is you don't have to necessarily go to Fresno or Florida. You can just play where, hopefully you have an Ace machine near you, but you just play where you are, provided that you're, like Dalton said, coupling up with another member of your local community. And that's kind of like the whole point. So...
and you can enter with multiple teams.
Yes, so that's the beauty.
Yeah,
of it.
so you're not locked into just playing with one person. So you can play the sets of songs with multiple different people.
Yeah.
You can only place once though, so there's some strategy involved there.
Yeah.
But
read the rules on the website.
Yeah. It's kind of a different sort of thing, but I think it'll get people to play with people that they might not otherwise.
And look, there's like prizes and stuff, but like honestly, if you're anything like me, you need external motivation. Like the remote tournament is a great way to like kind of meet other people in the community, see what scores other people are getting, find who is getting scores near you, and try to get, one up those that are like a little bit better than you. Like that's definitely the way I get better, and like Dalton's been crushing it on like harder stuff. So like when I go to the arcade tomorrow, like I'm gonna try to do all the harder stuff a little bit better than Dalton, which is gonna be really hard, right? So yeah, so definitely check out the tournament, and shout outs again to Dave & Buster's. Thanks for hosting us in September. Really excited. And
yeah. And speaking of remote tournaments, there was a all girls remote tournament called Valkyrie Dimension.
Which had contestants from Japan as well.
Yeah, I mean, all over the world.
International.
Yeah, it was run by Brittany goes at Galaga Ship on Twitter, I believe.
The Galaga Ship.
The Galaga Ship.
Wearing some of that swag.
Yeah, so I mean, there was different. There's really creative names. I don't recall them now for the different divisions. There was
Lady Mian.
Yeah, it was the difficult one.
Kind Ladies.
Paranoia Ladies?
Yeah.
I know the easiest one was Kind Ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was Paranoia Ladies. Which is like Paranoia Hades.
Yeah.
Oh, so great.
I don't know if you got that joke or not.
I think,
I
got it. There's all these different divisions with, for all skill levels of girls. It was just so cool to see, all the girls in the community come together and, increase their scores so much. I saw so many of them on Twitter saying whoa, between the beginning and the end of the tournament, increase their scores so much, and they're like, wow, I didn't know I could do this.
Yeah.
It was just a really cool event.
I'm liking this trend of online tournaments running successfully. I feel like there was Dr. D's tournament.
Yeah, and actually there's
another one right now.
There was just an ITG tournament too, ECFA, Everyone Can Fantastic Attack.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Which was another remote tournament for ITG.
Yeah.
So.
And the RPG happening right now, the Stamina RPG.
There's also the Go for the Top Korea tournament.
Oh my God. There's
there's a lot of stuff going on.
But there was another big brick and mortar one also.
Oh, the Big Deal?
The Big Deal.
Oh, the Big Deal.
That's right. That was run by Evil Dave and a few others.
Down in Grapevine, the Grapevine Round
Dallas.
1 in near Dallas, Texas.
That had a ton. That had, I think, the most prior to Storm.
It was like 80 people.
Yeah,
that's a lot of people.
It's a big deal.
Stream was really good. I liked their layout. They had a really nice effect where they focused in on the EX score, which I thought was really cool.
Which we should maybe adopt.
Good, yeah, definitely.
we'll be taking.
Just gonna steal that.
DDR stream layouts are getting pretty good these days.
Yeah.
So it's really cool to see kind of the evolution.
Yeah.
Anything else
of it. I think that does it for tournaments.
We just talked about tournaments for like half an hour.
I feel like the last podcast that we had too, it was like there wasn't so many tournaments going on simultaneously as there was this time. So
it just goes to show, even in the past couple months, how much Ace and dance games in general are still growing and thriving.
Yeah, and I also like to see, like, on the community, too, people really look forward to the tournaments, too. They're talking about it a ton. We're hyping it up.
Yeah.
People talk about it a lot, so that's cool.
So is it time to switch topics? Because I still haven't played Dance Rush, you guys.
Oh, yeah.
You haven't played Dance Rush?
I haven't played Dance Rush.
Dance Rush is amazing to play on.
I have not. Craig's has not played Dance Rush.
Craig's would kill it. Did you see those shoes? Craig's would kill it at Dance Rush, okay?
He'd look at the pad like he looks at that meatball in his face.
So if you've been living under a rock for the last, I guess since February or so, at KAC, Konami announced a new dance game.
Or they debuted it.
They debuted a new dance game, Dance Rush, which is Dance Rush Stardom. Which is, I see it as more of a replacement for Dance Evolution, if you've ever played Dance Evolution, which is the Kinect-based, sort of like full-body dancing game.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Just Dance.
Kind of Just Dance, yeah.
Yeah, like Just Dance or Dance Central.
In the arcade, yeah.
Yeah, so we got a chance to try Dance Rush. It was at the Konami booth where KAC was. There's a huge line for it, lots of hype. The machines are really cool looking. I actually didn't really get that much time with it there, but it has now landed in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So if you go to a round one, you can play Dance Rush.
I think every round one has one.
Yeah,
at least one. I think right now. I think they're trying to get
multiple.
At some locations.
Well, the last time I was there, it's been a while, but the last time I was going there to play Dance Rush, there was a huge line for it. Everybody wanted to try it.
Yeah, so it's kind of like a shuffling sort of thing. You're like actually more dancing.
So the thing that makes it really different from especially different from DDR, but different from Dance Evolution. Dance Evolution is kind of like you stand in one spot and it kind of focuses on your.
You do poses.
Yes, like it focuses on your arm movements and the orientation of your body. But Dance Rush, I would say, is maybe kind of like a cross between DDR and Dance Evolution, because your accuracy with your footsteps is taken into account. It's similar to Chunism, if anybody's ever played.
But it's
Chunism.
not Z-axis; it's just on the X.
Yeah, so
right?
it's
like
just on the X
or Y, I guess. Yeah.
Well,
I don't know.
I mean,
I haven't played,
not exactly. There's like the Running Man motion, which is I mean, it is like a horizontal thing that you're doing, but it's your feet are side by side, so it's not like
Sure.
The dimensionality is a little bit more fractal than that.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah. So it is. So
Good word, Roger.
Thank you, Dr. Clark.
So there is actually like a body camera, but the game like you don't really pay attention to that. For the most part, you can just think of it as like you're stepping on a 2D pad.
Yeah.
That
looks sick.
Yeah.
It looks really. It looks
Yeah.
Ton of LEDs.
Yeah,
really awesome.
Now we know why Ace Cabs don't have lights in the panels because they use them all for Dance Rush.
There you go. Yeah. But yeah.
No budget for them, dude.
So I think we all got to try it except for Omi. Did you not get to play yet?
I basically at JPO, I didn't want to stand for 2 hours in that line.
JPO,
and then,
not worth
it. Like one of you said, like now when I go, I've been to ERM maybe 4 times which is our local round 1 location, East Ridge Mall. I've been there a handful of times since being back because I usually play at Dave & Buster's.
Yeah.
Which doesn't have Dance Rush. And when I go there, I'm just playing Ace and 2DX.
Yeah.
And there's really always
line.
Someone on it, too.
There's an 8-person line.
Yeah.
I just don't want to wait.
Yeah.
I don't want to put my card there.
Yeah, I mean, it is really fun.
I will play it.
It is
it's
amazing.
great.
It is amazing.
And they have Boombayah.
It's a good song.
The Blackpink song, the Japanese version.
Yeah.
I heard it's just amazing to play on.
So,
yeah.
Interesting music choice, I thought, for Dance Rush. They went for EDM as the kind of theme for the music.
Yeah.
Well, what else are you gonna shuffle to?
Yeah.
I guess.
I mean,
Eurobeat.
One thing that seems to be
that.
missing completely from DDR and Dance Rush and any of the Japanese games is hip hop.
Yeah.
I think that Blackpink song Boombayah is probably the closest thing to hip hop in that whole game, and it would be nice if we had some like sick trap beats in DDR. I think that would be cool.
I mean, 2DX has Magical Girl trap beats.
Yeah.
Well, so the first Beatmania was kind of like the original hip hop one. But
Yeah.
It wasn't like real hip hop music. It was all like 90s in-house produced like hip hop.
Although
sounding
Tokai
music.
is a pretty sick song.
I love Tokai.
It's
yeah.
a pretty sick song.
But yeah, anyway, Dance Rush, very interesting. I got to play it a lot. I definitely don't enjoy it as much as DDR. I think it's still pretty early though.
Yeah,
it's kind of a novelty thing. Like
it is definitely a novelty thing.
It's fun to play, but
to play on,
which we'll get to that in a minute. But I just don't see myself playing it super seriously.
Well, I can never see 2 people going head to head on Dance Rush. It's kind of more...
Maybe it's just because I didn't
like
play because I didn't play it all that.
That is possible
because I didn't play it all that much. But like, I didn't really care about my score. Like, it was just kind of like, oh, this is fun, and I don't think it's accurate enough really to like really drill down on score. I mean, maybe I just didn't play it enough, but that was at least my initial impression. Is that it doesn't seem like a competitive game.
I've talked to people who are into getting the good scores, and I think that the songs right now aren't that hard, so. They would have to get harder in order for it to be competitive. But also DDR has a lot of lead time on true. Dance Rush. The DDR is a very deep game because there's so much content, right? Yeah, it's been 20 years and we still have, quite a large chunk of all the songs that have ever been released.
Yeah.
So it's I don't know if really anything can ever really approach the depth of music games from Konami because of there's just such a long history. You got
agree.
But Dance Rush, when it came on the scene, caused a little bit of drama.
Yeah.
So some people thought there's a lot of facets to it. So the first sign was kind of there was a book that came out called the Bimani Pia, which is actually it's a Japanese word that it was like a chronicle of all Bimani games, and they were kind of really touting like Dance Rush as being like the next really big thing. And so some people were starting to think that maybe Dance Rush would be replacing DDR in the future, but
which those fears were
made worse a little bit
by a particular Twitter thread.
Yeah, so this EDM artist Slushy with 2 eyes. He's a kind of a future bassy kind of artist who makes
he's on the Monster Cat label. So Monster Cat.
He makes Monster Cat music for Monster Cat, and he's reasonably popular. He's got blue hair. You got to respect people for the blue hair, and
you got to bring it back, right?
I should.
Actually, yeah.
But he posted a a tweet where he said something like,
"Let's revive DDR."
Hey, at Konami, let's revive DDR. And so I saw that and I was like, oh my god, like DDR, it's still here, right? Like
it's alive and kicking.
To me, him posting that, it was kind of like, do you even follow this kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, but like DDR these days isn't in the public consciousness.
That's true.
Like when you tell people, oh yeah, there's a new version of DDR, they're like, what?
Like World of Warcraft is a video game, capital V, capital G. DDR is just like a thing of the past, nostalgia. You know what I mean?
Well, to some people,
yeah.
Like World of Warcraft is like just as old, but you know what I mean? More, anyways. Yeah. But so, continue. Yeah.
So Konami responded to Slushy and said, Dance Rush is amazing to play on, and posted a video or a GIF of someone playing Dance Rush.
Yeah, they posted like the Dance Rush tutorial video on YouTube or something. Yeah. So a lot of people saw that as like Konami saying like, oh, ignore DDR, here's Dance Rush,
right.
Play this instead, which as we just talked about, like they're different games kind of with different audiences, I think.
Yeah, so that's why we're here to tell you, don't worry about it. I think that was these are all just kind of rumors.
They responded pretty quickly with, no, we definitely didn't mean that. Like we love all the Bimani games.
Yeah. Well, to clarify, it was the Konami US account.
Exactly.
It's not the Konami JP account, Japanese account. So they're not totally involved. They're not actually, frankly, involved with DDR Ace at all, from what I've heard.
Right.
The US account.
And plus, it's understandable that they want to promote their new game.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, a lot of people weren't super happy with that. But on the plus side, they did start to take notice more of DDR things when people started replying. They followed the SF Evolve Twitter account. They started retweeting Freestyle Takeover like videos and pictures from.
They retweeted stretches.
Oh yeah.
Score. Or something or some. I mean, they're noticing. I think we're on the, like I was talking about before. Like I think we're on the cusp of like a, call me paranoia, but we're on the cusp of a revolution here.
A player's revolution.
I really think that Konami's gonna hopefully start to notice more. Like I think talking to Hudson, who like manages round one stores, like. That's sweet. Like I think I think there's good momentum. So, I think that this podcast is trying to make sure that it keeps going. And I think that you out there, whoever's listening to this, like consider making some content, throw a video up on the internet, whatever.
Yeah.
And
at Konami on Twitter. Just Konami. Mention them and get them to retweet your stuff and look at it.
Definitely.
And I do want to also point out that they said on a webpage where they were talking about releasing. It was actually their quarterly results or something for their financial reporting. And they said that they have a new line of dance games in the works to celebrate DDR's 20th anniversary, including Dance Rush Stardom.
Cool.
So, new line of dance games, plural,
great,
including Dance Rush Stardom. I'm just going to fill in the blanks there and say that hopefully that means that they will have a new DDR. Right.
I mean,
people are referring to it, like James just said, as DDRB, but, who knows what it's going to be called.
Whatever. I mean, they're also like, that's great. I like that you share that point. There's also the fact that they're making content for DDR.
Yeah, and
good segue.
Exactly.
Right. Guess what?
Yeah. So I mean, since we left you in February, there's been a number of content updates. With a lot of great new songs, frankly.
Boss Rush is one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's a really sick hardcore song.
Yeah,
or speedcore, I guess.
Yeah. It's like the modern J-core. Like what J-core nowadays is kind of this fusion of like dubstep, trap, kind of like it's just everything.
It's like a melting pot.
Yeah. So it's an Expert 16. It's a really fun chart. Like the entire middle half of the song is a slowdown, basically, which is like you think the slowdown's gonna end like 2 or 3 times. Like as you're like, oh, it's about to speed up. Nope. It's about to speed. Nope.
Yeah.
So it's really great. And then with that update also came.
Another song in DDR Ace with the word Sakura in it.
Yeah, what is that, 4 songs?
I think it's 5.
Sakura Storm, Sakura.
Sunrise.
Sakura Sunrise.
Reflection.
Reflection.
Sakura Straight Up.
Well, it's part of Ryu Star's Sakura series.
Yeah.
Sakura series.
It's like Harry Potter 1 through 7.
Yeah. So that's a
Sakura and the Deathly Hallows.
Well, Sakura Reflection has been in Bemani games for a long time. It's one of my favorite 2DX songs.
Awesome song.
So
also awesome song.
Yeah,
and
so
that's a 15.
It's a 15.
a great 15 too.
Yeah, it's on the easier end, I think. It's sort of comparable to like Romancing Lair, maybe.
It's a little faster.
I think it's harder.
And it's got some 16th note kind of drills and stuff. So I think it's harder than Romancing Lair.
I think it's harder than Romancing
Lair. Yeah, it's on the easier end though. And then there's another Tag 14 song, which
I don't know the name of it.
Yeah, it's in Japanese, so but it has a very tricky slowdown in it.
It's green.
Yeah, it's very green. So give that a try too.
Beat my score.
And then just shortly after that, I think like a month later, was the In Between update, which is another new 15.
That's the name of the song.
Yeah, sorry. It's called not In Between two other updates. The song is called In Between.
The tag song is Shunpu Blowing Wind.
There we go.
Nice.
There we go.
Thanks, Buzzard.
So In Between is basically Rising Firehawk Part 2.
With Mayumi Morinaga's vocals, which you barely can hear.
Yeah.
I like it more than Rising Firehawk.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool song.
It's a cool song.
Pretty fun chart. So, and there was Night of Nights Challenge got released, which Night of Nights is a 15.
And the challenge chart is 16.
In
right?
Ace, yeah. Challenge chart was released. However, it was not released in the U.S.
A Japan-only chart.
Weren't there other ones that updated as well? I think there were other ones.
Well, there was also a song called Cerno's Perfect Math Class or something like that.
But that song is
It was a Japanese-only song.
Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which Night of Nights, like...
It came out here.
Yeah.
Very strange.
I don't know why they did that.
My suspicion is that it was a mistake.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
And they just haven't realized. I mean, it's been like a couple weeks now, and they haven't noticed.
Well, it takes a while for them to push out updates.
Yeah, it would be great to see the challenge chart. Here in the U.S. for
it's pretty hard, honestly. If you look at it, I think it's a 17.
I haven't watched it yet because in case it does get released here, that I want to like sight read it.
Yeah.
I've been holding out, so I haven't actually watched.
I think it's 16.9, honestly.
Yeah.
And I would say count on it coming out in the U.S. I think.
And also, I think which update was it? Was it the In Between update where Endymion was made?
No,
that was the boss rush one.
Boss rush, yeah. So you can play Endymion and Ace for Aces on extra stage level 1 or
no,
it's level 2 now.
Yeah, I think Endymion is all, but I think Ace for Aces is 2 or 3.
Yeah. So basically, you can play, and Ace for Aces is no longer. You don't have to PFC it, so you can just play it normally, and you can play the expert chart normally.
Mm-hmm.
People have some opinions about the expert chart. Not going to get into, but
I mean,
it's off sync.
Yeah, it's extremely off sync.
I can't deny the facts.
Yeah, it's also not. It's just not a great chart.
If you're like me and you enjoy MA more than playing hard stuff, which I know that there's like kind of a good mix now in the community, but I like stick to 17s and under. In my opinion, Endymion is the hardest 18 and the hardest 19.
What? Okay, so it's definitely the hardest 19. Well, I don't know about definitely. Yeah, I think it is. But
I know it's up for debate.
The hardest 18?
Maybe.
Think?
It's really tiring.
It's
really
pretty
tiring. Although at the very least. Yeah, okay. Maybe.
I'm happy to be debated on this, but in my opinion, the thing I love about it is like, A, it's such a badass song. B, it's like, it reminds me of when I was like 15 playing DDR Max, and I would just like hit this wall with like Max 300, right? Like, I would go to the arcade, I would just like repeat like Nori Nori Nori, double A, get to Max 300. Fail on the 10th step. Like it was just like I don't know, like when I think I was 13 or 14, but like basically this cycle of like you get to this boss song and it sounds awesome and it's hard as balls. Like it's just like a really fun nostalgic feeling, and I think Endymion gives me that.
It's great. I think it's one of the best DDR boss songs ever made.
So cool.
And it's been like a year since it came out.
Yeah,
it's still a banger.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So now you can play it more often. You could play the difficult a lot more. You don't have to wait and use your entire heat meter to play it.
Yep. Still Life 4 though, so good luck.
Yeah, Still Life 4. So that's
exactly. I made it halfway through the 18, and I could probably get to the end. I think if I tried.
There's lots of jumps there, so who knows?
I just beat your expert score.
Oh,
I'm at like 680 now.
Thanks.
It's so hard. We got 2 new songs.
Yeah, so actually, even more updates is that a new one just came out yesterday, Wednesday, here in the U.S. with 2 new songs.
What are those called?
So they're Touhou song, or one of them is a Touhou song, and the other one's a Nicoena Master song. So the Touhou song is called Plain Asia, and
it's a 13. It's a fun chart.
13, and then the Nicoena Master song is called Sennen, and that's also
8, 9, 10 people have MFC already, I think.
Probably more than that. Yeah, it seems to be a good candidate for an MFC.
A nice on-sync 12.
Cool. Go get it.
Pretty cool.
So, yeah, I mean...
Watch out for the yellow jumps at the end.
Oh, yeah, those are tricky.
Those got me.
Sennen no Kotowari. So those songs are in Japanese, but if you're familiar with the Ace song list, you can't miss it.
Yeah, so I mean, like we were saying, is that, they're still, Konami's still releasing content for Ace. So it's good that it hasn't completely dropped off the radar.
I think it's a great sign, actually, because there actually was quite a bit of time where there was no new content.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now there is.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were, like, after Ace for Aces, like, I think a lot of people were expecting, like, that was the end of it.
Yeah.
But it's good to see, new stuff keep coming.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, I was surprised by that, especially since Ace for Aces, like, the background video had a very nice, like, finishing sort of...
I do want to say, considering that they're continuing to release content and that DDR Ace has so many songs in it, I know a lot of people keep talking about, like, oh, when's DDR-B coming out, or when's the next mix coming out? And personally, I still have so much stuff left to do in Ace that I think that I could actually be okay with playing Ace for quite a long time, as long as they kept releasing new content.
Yeah.
It would be nice if they'd released more new content, but I think I just want to offer up the perspective of, maybe looking at the game as, like, there's 800 songs in there. We've been catching up to Japan for this is our catch-up mix for the past, like, 6 years or whatever. So I think there's a lot to cover, and I mean, I'm trying not to focus on, what the next mix is going to be.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the way that a lot of games are going. Not necessarily Bemani games, but, like, a lot of games are... You get the core game, and then there just keeps being updates for that.
Right.
That game.
There's no like League of Legends 2.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, like, but even Bimani, like, they did Xenobuzz 2DX as an over-the-air update. So, like, this is not even unprecedented for Konami. Konami updated Xenobuzz.
Right. Exactly.
Like they didn't, like, they still sell arcades, marquees, and whatever. But that update was just like the thing you bought from them and you downloaded it.
Yeah,
so that's awesome.
I definitely see this as maybe being a future thing. Yes, like
exactly.
not like huge updates, but maybe like just very slow,
big content
incremental.
patch.
Like content patches and stuff.
Yeah.
So, I think so too.
Especially for new players who it's going to take you a long time to get through the song list anyway,
Like, to Roger's point, like, the 4 of us in this room recording this, we play a lot of DDR, and, like, I've played the past 5 days, and I still have, like, 10 18s to play, 119 to play, and then just, like, going back and, like, I don't know, trying to achieve my goals of, like, PFCing, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, and we play a lot of DDR.
Yeah,
so if you're a new player, like...
Yeah, there's always more stuff to do. If you've been playing a lot of hard stuff, go back and play the easy stuff. If you play easy stuff and you're trying to push yourself. Speaking of pushing yourself, I tweeted out about Skill Attack, actually.
Oh, yeah. Great
which
idea.
somehow spawned a lot of people to also create accounts. Skill Attack is kind of uses a formula to calculate, like, your best scores and gives you points based on a formula of, like, difficulty and your ranking.
Double A's matter a lot.
Double A's and triple A's and PFCs and things like that. So it gives you an aggregate, like, point ranking of your, like, 30 best scores. The site's kind of weird, but if you already use the DDRA Score Manager app, It's really easy to if you have the basic course
it's like
subscription.
one button.
Yeah, it's like one button to export your scores to Skill Attack. So it's not a lot of people in the U.S. Like the homepage is a bunch of U.S. players. So check out Skill Attack.
I think it'd be really easy. Like maybe I'll just record a video of doing that on my phone and like post it on Twitter.
Yeah,
it's like a really easy thing to do.
So it's just another metric. It very heavily weights harder songs, like getting higher scores on harder songs rather than like low perfect counts on easier stuff. So it's
cry
not,
emoji coming from me right now.
Yeah, so it's not like the perfect metric, and I think people will see that and go, "Oh, I got to play more hard stuff." But like, it's not the only measure of how good you are at the game. So just continue to play.
But then again, if you're an MA player and you need to get good at hard stuff,
that's what I'm saying is that use it as motivation to target your weak points. So yeah, check it out. I mean, you can just Google Skill Attack DDR. It's a Japanese website. Use Google Translate, and
I mean, if you're used to using the Konami eAmusement website, the skillattack.com/SA4 is the URL.
Yeah, there you go.
It's a breeze.
It's much
compared
easier
to the
than
eAmusement site.
Yeah. So just as another way of motivating yourself. So check it out.
I think that's all we have for tonight.
Yeah.
Is that right? And
I think we'll try and have more episodes. We're back, and
there's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Craigs will be back. Yes, dude. Yes, dude.
This was kind of a weird episode because we were catching up. We're trying to run through things pretty quickly. We'll kind of try and get back into our old format of like focusing more on specific things.
Before we go, we want to talk about the song of the week or the set of the week.
Bringing it back.
Bringing it back, yeah. Of course, we can't forget that. It's one of my favorite parts about this podcast. So, in honor of Craig's, our guest, I'm going to pick Ubertreffen by DJ Taco. Respect for Johann Sebastian Bach. It's a good song from 2DX. It's a solid 13 on Expert. Give it a try.
Cool. I'm going to throw out London Evolved Ver A because I learned the Evolved series last week, and they're all amazing songs, and you should play A because it's the hardest one.
Yeah.
It's a 14, Expert.
Or 17 challenge.
Or 17 if you're feeling lucky.
Yeah.
Roll those dice.
I'm gonna pick a song that I think people typically avoid, which is Truore!
Oh,
exclamation point.
Yeah, it has an exclamation point at the end.
You have to yell it.
So you have to, I don't want to yell too loud, but Truore is it's like Vanessa Jr., sort of.
It's hard.
It's not as fast as Vanessa, but it's 12th notes with some crossovers.
It's got some brackety jumps.
Yeah. Some...
In the 16.
Interesting, yeah. It's an Expert 16, so I think a lot of people probably avoid it, but it's really fun. I happened to play it the other night and PFC'd it, so in honor of that.
Good job.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's our...
I definitely picked London Evolved because I got 5 on it.
Yeah, so that's our tap set of the week. I'll post the graphic.
The JPEG.
That glossy JPEG.
Can you deep fry it this time? No, don't.
Hold on, Roger has a fast food item of the week also.
Oh yeah, I was in lieu of my song pick for set of the week, I was going to tell everyone to try the new watermelon freeze from Taco Bell. It has some candy seeds, some simulated watermelon seeds, and with a nice big straw like you get in boba tea. It's a great summer drink, and I think Taco Bell should give me money for saying that.
I was going to say, Taco Bell, if you're listening, at Roger Clark on Twitter.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
We'll make you money.
I think SF Evolved definitely deserves sponsorship from Monster, from all the people who've been drinking.
Sweat.
Pocari Sweat. Taco Bell, McDonald's, for as much as we tweet about this stuff.
Yeah. And also, not related to fast food, but Happy Pride. It's
Pride Month.
San Francisco Pride is this weekend, so there's a lot of LGBT dance game players. I think more than a lot of other gaming communities. So
and the community is super inclusive. So props to us. Keep it up. It's great to be a part of.
I mean, not us in this room necessarily.
No. I mean, I think we're all bigoted. Everybody in this room is pretty bigoted. No, I'm just kidding. No, but everybody, I think, is the community at large is very welcoming.
Yeah,
totally. Yeah. All right, so that's all we have for tonight. So thanks for tuning in, and
thank you for playing. Craigs, thank you for playing, Craigs.
Craigs, thank you for playing. Yes, dude.